Yeah, my name's Justin Lovett. I'm based in Seoul, South Korea, and I work here as a DP, working on commercials and documentaries. And the title of the film that we shot was It Doesn't Mean Anything. And yeah, I've been here about 5 years, probably will be here a little bit longer here in Seoul, South Korea. Yeah, it was um I wrote the script after I was talking with a producer I was working with here on a documentary. He produces some of the documentaries I work on, and he's also a writer, also creating his own short films. And we got into a little bit of a debate about creating, and he was he leaned a lot more toward I mean, I don't know how it started, but I was basically saying like sometimes you should just create something for the sake of creating instead of having some deeper, I don't know, message or meaning you're trying to share with the world, which is important as well. Um, and he was like very opposed to that. And he was like, no, you have to have some kind of deeper meaning if you're trying to create something. And after we had this little argument, I was like, I'm gonna write something to try and just make something that I guess was about creating just for the sake of creating instead of, I guess, trying to tell a story that was, I don't know, uh, trying to give I guess, tell a story that had maybe some other meaning that you're trying to convince your audience or try and persuade them to believe. So yeah, it was mainly from that, and then we wrote the script, and um, yeah, that's probably what really pushed it forward. Yeah, there was meaning. I mean, I guess the meaning. I mean, the story still had meaning, but it was more, I guess, that sometimes things just happen the way they happen. There's not any predetermined kind of meditation towards what was trying to be said. But yeah, I guess we still that was the message we were giving. So maybe you can't create anything without actually having your own personal message in there, I guess. Yeah, maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot with what I was trying to do. When we were shooting that, I mean, it was a really small crew, it was super small. I mean, it was me. I mean, I was in it. I acted in it, and I'm not an actor, but it was probably the only story was the first scene in the photo studio was really fun because we got to bring a friend of ours in to help. He was the photographer. He's a close friend of ours, and he's actually an influencer here. And um, when we arrived at the studio was already booked by someone else. So we arrived, and all their gear was already all over the studio. They were shooting some kind of product, and we thought we were gonna have to reschedule the whole thing, have our friend come back another day, have the DP come back another day. But thankfully, the we called the studio guy, and he was like, he just said, "Don't worry about any of the other gear. They're not coming today, and have your way with the rooms." But yeah, that was probably the only major thing that kind of stuck out.
And
Yeah.
how long?
Otherwise, we shot very quickly.
Sorry, say again?
We shot it very quickly. I think we did it in 2 days.
That was my
Yeah.
question. How long
Oh,
did
okay.
it take?
Yeah, it only took about 2 days. We did not shoot very long. We did it pretty clear. I mean, the script was very short, and shot list was very short as well. So, there was only two locations that we shot at, and but it was fun. Thankfully, the team, everyone we had worked with before, and we got along with them all very well, and the team was really great. Yeah. I mean, it definitely like earlier when I was saying with when I talked to that other producer and we were just talking about creating and uh yeah, sometimes I feel like it's important just to create something without any predetermined idea. Just start going, just start really. And but the process really was I wrote a script and then I gave it to my wife, let her look at it, and then I sent it to the DP. He looked at it, and then based off their feedback, we changed some things, and then we created a shot list. We shot at the two locations, and shot list changed a little bit while we were shooting, and then during the edit as well, things changed a tiny bit as well. I think mainly one of there was another scene in the bedroom that we took out. We shot the bedroom scene like three different ways, and um, yeah, it was pretty simple though. I edited with the DP, so uh, that was the process. It yeah, didn't take longer than a week or two. I mean, I mean, we all look up to great directors, and all of the famous ones. I think we all know and look up to. Besides anybody that's like really famous, who's a role model that I know that I could share. I mean, I would, I think the only other thing that's inspired me a lot in the last months is a book called The Creative Act. And I don't remember the author, but it's quite popular online right now. But I'm just gonna make sure I can find it exactly because I really recommend it to anyone who's creating things. Oh, Rick Rubin, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. That book, not necessarily a role model, but I think it's really inspiring. If anyone's looking for something to get a little bit more inspiration, besides, like we all know, Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, all these like famous directors out there, but they have their own styles, and we're all looking to get our own styles. Um, Tips for newcomers in filmmaking. I would say definitely don't be afraid to reach out to people that are in your field, in your area, in your city. Just recently, I met with another DP in Seoul here, like I think 2 days ago. I know who he is. I mean, he's kind of my competition actually with work, but I would say reach out to as many people in your field as you can and really focus on building a relationship with them and see if you guys match, see if you can be friends, listen to their story. And if you can connect and actually be friends, that will take you a lot further than anything else, I think. Um, I think listening to the stories of the people you're actually working with and getting to know them and caring about them helps a lot. Um, and obviously practice a lot, just shoot all the time. But the relationships you can connect with people in your field of work, whether it's DPs or producers or I mean editors doing sound, whatever. I would say just try and connect with them as much as possible and do cold calls or Instagram or whatever and try and meet with them. Yeah. But when you meet with them, focus on building a relationship, get to know them, listen to their story, where they're from, who their parents are, who their siblings are, what jobs did they have before. The relationship is a lot more important than trying to get something from them. I don't think my answer is going to be exactly to that question, but what comes to my mind with that question is uh, there's a documentary that came out I don't know when it came out, a couple years ago. It's pretty new. It's called Deepest Breath on Netflix, and it's about free diving. And I'm shooting a lot of documentaries right now, so maybe that's why I it stuck out to me, and I'm looking at trying to make a documentary similar to it. But it's just a really powerful, it's very beautifully shot, cinematic, but also uses a lot of just normal footage shot by other people on their phones and stuff like that. And I think if there's anything that's inspired me in the last 2 years and that I related to a lot was that documentary called Deepest Breath. and I'd recommend anyone. I mean, it's beautifully shot too. I don't think it documentaries now more and more are, I would call them more like cinematic kind of documentaries. The line between film and documentary is being brought closer and closer. And yeah, that documentary, probably that is what I would say.